Assalamualaikum and have a nice day to panelists and to all of you that are watching my presentation. I'm Norizati binti Rodi, matrix number 2019348201 from group NSR 2416 M2 and student code M34. For today, I will be present for subject research project SRW655 for the last semester. The topic is the mental health mobility of students UiTM Seremban 3 during the COVID-19 pandemic. This is presentation outline that I will be explained for the detail. It is consists of background of the study, statement of the problems, research objective, literature review, methodology, results, discussion, and reference. Firstly, we proceed to the background of the study. As we know, COVID-19 come from China in late 2019, and when the cases immediately increased and become worse, it gave effect for all people, especially for students. It is because they experience of school and college closure, and they cannot go for school or college like before. Based on the previous study, socio-cognitive theory is a physiological perspective on human functioning that emphasizes the critical role played by the social environment on motivation, learning, and self-regulation. Also, by the other journal, it stated that stress one of the mental and physical that causes when people think their own ability have not fully altered to the change in external environment. However, the purpose of this study was to study the prevalence and severity of COVID-19 associated the mental health mobility of students UiTM Seremban 3 during the COVID-19 pandemic, and to find the result or that all these factors may have caused significant stress and lead to anxiety and depression in students. This is statement of the problems that researchers found from readings and various journal articles to give more evidence about this study. Based on the previous study, Domenico and Chance 2020 show that some students must rush to the toilets to answer call from their professor or to return off video feed because the noise background. Other than that, without conducive learning environment, students are unable to concentrate on their schoolwork and study productivity is reduced as a result. Based on this study, it have three types of objectives that consist of to identify the level of mental health student UiTM Seremban 3 during the COVID-19 pandemic. Second is to identify mental health causes among students during the COVID-19 pandemic. Third is to examine comparative of mental health problem between male and female students UiTM Seremban 3 during the COVID-19 pandemic. Next, let's move to the literature review. On the right side is conceptual framework that researchers chose as a guideline in making this thesis and to make on conceptual frameworks. This framework was developed by SPSO's Mental Health and Wellbeing Groups. Based on the previous study, socio-cognitive theory is a physiological perspective on human functioning that emphasizes the critical roles played by the social environment on motivation, learning, and self-regulation. We continue for this slide. In this slide, refer to the frameworks that researchers developed in this thesis, which is the DV is COVID-19 pandemic and the IV is refer to the mental health and sub with physiological well-being, social well-being, and physical well-being. For the left side is research design, which is the researcher use quantitative design because the researcher using questionnaire method. While the descriptive design more focused to the non-experimental research and don't have any experiment according to find the result. The correlation coefficient is relation between two variables based on the objective number 3. Refer to the previous study, Felby Angelin 2020. Cross-sectional research design is the most common survey design, as data are collected at one point in time, enabling researchers to gather data in a short amount of time. While for the right side is research sampling. The population that involved in this study is referred to the students UiTM Seremban 3. The inclusion is only for students who register in UiTM Seremban 3, both male and female, and includes all three faculties, which is FSKM, FSPPP, and FSR student. Why the exclusion in sample is excluded for the respondents who do not register in UiTM Seremban 3 under all three faculties. Researcher gets the number of sample from UiTM Seremban 3 Student Representative Council (MPP) and the amount of students with 5,651 that register in UiTM Seremban 3. Other than that, researcher also refer to the table of Craigie and Morgan 1917 to find the sample size and need to plus 20% to avoid from bias. Sample that researcher needs to complete this study is 433 student UiTM Seremban 3. And next, sampling techniques refer to the probability sampling technique, which is simple random sampling techniques. This slide focus on the instrument that researcher use. The researcher used questionnaire to collect data. This questionnaire consists of 3 sections, which is Section A for demographic respondent, Section B for mental health status, which is the instrument from academic years 2017 and 2018, focus on SID scale, which is have 10 questions, and third is for the Section C, the mental health seeking, the instrument from academic years and have 6 questions. Next, proceed to the data collection procedures that researcher used as guideline in thesis making, which is it have 5 steps. For the first step, getting approval by ethics committees. Second, seek approval from head of organization. Third, brief the respondents about the purpose of the study. Fourth, distribute the questionnaire to all respondents. And for the lastly, collect the questionnaire after they have finished answering it. This slide refers to the data analysis, which is research objective matched to data analysis. If you can see on table that attached is 3 types of objective, which is the first one is researcher needs to identify the level of mental health student UiTM Seremban 3 during the COVID-19 pandemic, and researcher use descriptive statistics to know the frequency and percentage mental health level. Second, researcher needs to investigate the highest of the cases student UiTM Seremban 3 among 3 faculties, which is FFKN, FSKM, FSPPP, and FSR student that who experience mental health problems during the COVID-19 pandemic. Also, using the descriptive statistic to find the highest causes by look at frequency and percentage. And the lastly is for the research objective is to examine comparative of mental health problems between male and female students UiTM Seremban 3 during the COVID-19 pandemic, and the researcher wants to know their comparative and use independent t-test, test to find the answer to compare between male and females who have high mental health problems. Next, we proceed to the result that researcher gets. In this slide, researcher attached Chromba alpha value as reference. Chromba alpha values show that 0.858 it means that Chromba alpha is really and rule of thumb of the result is acceptable. This is the result that researcher gets for the first objective for descriptive statistics. Researcher just only attach for the one question from 10 questions just as reference the panels. What researcher can conclude is the level of mental health student UiTM Seremban 3 during the COVID-19 pandemic is under control and they know how to manage their mental health. The result of positive answer, which is scale-liked for until 6, is higher than negative answer from number 1 until number 3, which is 3,720 for positive, which is the scale-liked 1 until 3 is 610 for negative answer. So, you can conclude that UiTM Seremban 3 students know how to handle their stress and know where to go when they have these mental health problems. Next, we proceed for next result for objective number 2. Based on the table that researcher attached, it started with high cases that student answer that have is anxiety, for example, such as generalized anxiety disorder and previous. The frequency number is 25 and the percentage is 5.8%. While for the second is the frequency have 22 and the percentage is 5.1% refer to the depression. For the example is major depressive disorder, persistent depressive disorder. And lastly, for the degrees that student have is depression combined anxiety. The frequency which is 30 and the percentage is 3.0. Proceed this slide is referred to the answer for objective number 3, which is that researcher want to compare the mental health problem between male and female student by using petty test to get the result. The table that attached is the result that researcher can conclude that there are differences between gender and mental health problem among students UiTM Seremban 3. For the discussion, the researcher conducted a study on this disease is aimed to find out the mental health of students during the pandemic. The results show a situation where students tend to be better at managing their mental health problems as well. While many mental health problems answered by respondents are related to depression and anxiety, and other mental health problems only in small quantities. And the result of this study is there is a difference between the gender of male and female students with mental health problem among students. This is some reference that researcher used in this slide. And I think that's all from me, and thank you to all panelists, and thank you for watching and lending your ears with my presentation. Thank you and have a nice day.